What up, what up, what up, what up? It's me, L Teddy 27.
What's good tonight? Right about the hood.
Oh, dear God, I'm already eating a drink. Look, a damn mess. Just a damn mess. No means no, and yes means no. What's good, people? What's up? It's me, L Teddy 27. I'm back for another review. This is going to be our review for The Real Hot Boys Houston. This is season 1. It is episode 7. It is entitled Don't Drown Me. Now, let me just preface, there was a lot going on in this video, a lot in this episode, a lot to unpack. I'm going to be my regular comedic self, but there are some conversations that need to be had about some of the things that we saw in the video. Tough conversations, but we'll be fine afterwards. So, we start off. We still at the brunch. Ken sit down with all of the guys. He's giving out rules, policies, procedures, and everything in between. Listen, please change his name to the parliamentarian, because I swear Mama was out here dictating the parameters for making motions, points in order, questions, and all of them. Listen, debate and all. Please, listen, your last name better be Roberts, akin the way you was giving out the rules of order out here today. Because, baby, he was laying it down. You can't do this, you can't do this, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. But I really felt like, and I wrote this down, that this was intended to be messy conversation, because what you're looking to have happen is you just simply want these girls to go and just air all of their business out to you so you could sit there and soak it up and say, oh. And when people do that, sometimes it seems like that's a mechanism that person has to make themselves feel better about their situation. If they can sit and listen to all of the shit that everybody else got going on, they can say, well, my shit ain't that bad because he going through that, he going through that, he going through that, and he going through that. Because if it's me, I would have sat there and been like, I ain't telling y'all nothing. If I got a problem with so-and-so, I'm going to be a grown-ass man and go to so-and-so privately. That's not something that needs to be aired out in front of the whole group of people. That's something that me and that person have going on. I'm going to talk to them. We're going to sit down one-on-one and we're going to talk about it. All you going to hear in the aftermath is, yeah, we had a conversation. We good. Everything fine. But I just felt like the whole premise of this was really, really messy. This is a bunch of grown-ass men. And grown-ass men should be able to go, if I got a problem with you, I'm going to sit in front of you. Me and you going to sit down. We going to talk it out. And, get it over with and move on, or choose that we just going to part ways. But you can be adult about it. And so the premise started off bad for me. August talks first, and I swear at one point when he was explaining Braylon and what Braylon was and all of these titles and, roles that Braylon played in his life, I swore he said jack off trade or jack off partner. And then I had to rewind back a couple times and listen like 24 more times to make sure I hear what I heard. And I think he said jack of all trades, but I swore he said jack off trade or jack off partner or something like that. Child, I guess. Anyway, so he went, and then August was sitting next to him. And he was like, yeah, me and August, I don't really have too much problem with August, but I'm still watching August. And August, the immediate look August had on his face was like, bitch, I will stab you in the throat, you stinking ass whore. But then he recovered real quick and like gave a smile and smirk. But I caught that initial look. That initial look was like, bitch, I will stab you in the fucking jugular, you stinking ass whore. I saw it. Y'all know I don't miss much, August. You almost got stabbed by Ashton. Did I say August that whole time? When August was talking about Ashton's initial look was, when August said, I'm watching you, Ashton. Ashton's initial look was, bitch, I will stab you in the fucking jugular and watch you bleed out to death and enjoy it and smile. He smirked and laughed it off afterwards, but baby, that first look was like, go on back and rewind and see. Anyway, Ashton goes next. The tag along comment came up. Braylon then talked about how the comment affected him and hurt him and how he wanted so bad to be a part of this friend group and be accepted by Ashton in the group. And then something stuck out to me. He mentioned them being more masculine than him and him wanting to be accepted by this group that was more masculine than him. And I was like, So he's really hurt by this. And you see this a lot of times, especially with the younger gay men. There's this wanting and longing to be accepted by some of the more masculine gay men. They see it if their friend group is more masculine, then that's like a status symbol or something like that. I'm saying outside of the city of Atlanta. When you talk about the city of Atlanta, because those girls are, those are fembots, and they love being fembots, and they celebrate all of their femininity. But in most other large cities and segments, you do have your femme girls, but for most traditional, just regular gay black men, they, especially if they consider themselves kind of feminine, they do try to be accepted by the gays that appear to be more masculine presenting or leaning. And so here it is, Braylon is trying to be accepted by this group of guys that he feels, the way it came off is it sounded like he was saying that they were better than him, and he was trying so hard to ingratiate with them himself with them and have them accept him. And I just want to say to Braylon, you don't need that. If you don't want to be my friend, that's fine. I'm great in all that I am, and I will keep it moving. Once you kind of sense that resistance, I would have told August, I had fun, girl, with them, but that ain't my speed. That ain't my group of people. That ain't my judge. Trust me, it's other people out there. And I also want to break down the fact that you can just be authentically who you are. If you are more feminine, that is great. You are a wonderful person in that. If you present as more masculine, that's great. A lot of times, and I'm sure you notice with this group, you get around some people and they're masculine presenting, and then you get to know them and they just one of the girls. Girl, they getting bust down like you are. Girl, they say, hey girl, hey, like you are. Girl, they got a pair of lace tights in they in the back of their drawer as well. Girl, you see how these girls prance around, girl. They may be masculine presenting at first, but girl, these are the girls. So, and I think that Braylon, you put so much stock in where you thought they were or what you thought they were. You kind of didn't see the forest through the trees because you were so gung-ho on it. But it's a lot of, as you can probably see, there are a lot of things about this group that probably wasn't what you thought it was in the beginning. But that's a whole nother story. Dre and Ken, simultaneously, when Braylon was talking, there was a moment where DeAndre and Ken had this look of both like of surprise and horror at the same time, and I just made it. In my brain thought that look came when he was like, because I wanted to be accepted by this masculine group that was more masculine than me, and I think that's when they both were like, they gave that look of like, because girl, they know they ain't nobody's more masculine than nobody. Child, girl, their face told it all, honey. Child. I also noticed that he was trying to come for Ashton a little bit. And I think part of that look too was like, girl, you trying to come for Ashton. Ashton is always ready. Amped and ready. So Ashton, when Braylon got done, Ashton looked at that woman and said, okay, you done? And he told her, Whore, you are a tag along. Bitch, I said it and I meant it and I'm standing 10 toes down in it. Whore, you are a tag along. How else you want me to say it? Bitch, you want me to make a billboard? Bitch, you want me to hire a plane and have it written in the sky for you? Bitch, you need me to spell it out for you? Shadow puppets? You need me to get an Etch-a-Sketch and sketch it out on the Etch-a-Sketch? You are a tag along, whore. That's what Mama said, Daddy. I was here for it. I was here for all of it. But I don't know why this is such a horrible thing. He was. And that's not belittling Braylon by any stretch of the imagination. In the beginning, when this show first started, we didn't even know who he was. I remember doing my review for episode 1, and I was like, well, who is this boy? Because I don't think he's a part of the cast. And he was just somebody that August brought along by him saying you were a tag along. You were a tag along. You tagged along with August when he came. Clearly, if August is trying to join the friend group and still getting, his, feet wet in the friend group and trying to learn everybody, he's not in a position to be bringing other people in the friend. I can kind of imagine somebody already in the established friend group saying, yeah, that's a tag along. You were. That doesn't. I think I think they're looking at that term as if it's a belittling term to Braylon. It's not. That doesn't depreciate the value of the friendship between Braylon and August. That doesn't depreciate who Braylon is as a person. You were tagging along with August. You even said yourself, yeah, I wanted to be a part of this friend group. I wanted to be accepted by y'all. So you even kind of admitted, yeah, I was tagging along with August because I wanted to, be in a group. Child, whatever. They're arguing semantics. Anyway, Braylon says, whether or not you like it, I'm a part of the friend group. Girl, it is what it is. Ain't nothing you can do about that. I'm here. Accept me as I am. But, you talking out of both sides of your neck, Braylon. Like, at one point, you like, it hurt me that you didn't accept me. I want you to accept me. But then you say, well, I'm just going to be a part of this. So you're really not looking for their acceptance then. You just say, oh, bitch, I'm going to bust in here. So what is this whole looking for acceptance if you're just going to bust in anyway? And that's just not how friends work. Like, you can't just say, oh, you my friend. Friendships are a mutual arrangement and agreement. It's not one-sided where you say, okay, I'm your friend. And the other person don't say, you're my friend. That's not how this works. But child, I guess. Anyway, Dre starts talking, and I swear, DeAndre was about to break into tears because the way his voice was cracking and the way he seemed so tentative in his voice and stuff like that. I was like, I just wanted to punch him in the chest and say, put some bass in your voice. Because he was like, no disrespect to Dre. I'm just saying how DeAndre, but I'm just saying how it came off on camera. He was real tentative, like he was about to, crawl in the fetal position and start crying at some point. I was like, "Oh, mama, get it together." Anyway, Ashton got up because he had to go to work. But before Mama left, Mama made sure she said, "Girl, you got this good old chicken over here, honey. Girl, let me snatch up a few pieces of chicken before I make my exit, so I can be eating while I'm driving down the highway." Anyway. Ashton gave me, you know what Ashton gave me when he grabbed that chicken? Ashton gave me Travis at Troy's birthday party on Chasing Atlanta, which Travis was like, girl, y'all can fight all y'all want to. Mama, I'm going to be sitting over here eating because I am not going to miss out on this good food. And Ashton said, girl, y'all can be over here spilling y'all guts and telling all of the tea. Girl, I'm leaving. But before I leave, before we depart this sacred retreat, I am going to grab me some victuals and grab me a few pieces of chicken. Anyway, he announced he's having some slumber party later that night. The gag is, he was just setting up the setup for Jordan because he must have got that text. Jordan said, girl, I'm at the door. Act like you about to leave. Open the door and let me walk through. He opened the door and Jordan walked through. And the girls were like, oh, Jordan's here. So I guess we can't talk about Jordan now. Even though Kent tried to come up with some bullshit ass rule when he was laying out all the rules. Oh, we're not going to talk about Jordan because he's not here. Girl, you know they was going to talk about Jordan. We'll see more of this later. We'll see more of that later. Talking about people who ain't there. Anyway. So Jordan came. They weren't ready. They showed. Said, now they see he's here. You would think that would be open season to say something to Jordan and talk about Jordan. Girl, they was silence. Silence is golden. Mum's the word. The girls had nothing for Jordan. That's how you break a party up. You break a bitch party up when you walk in the room and bitches were saying they had a whole lot of smoke for you, and you walk in the room and break it up and bitches are silent. Bitch, I'm here now. What? Jose has shit to say. I was here for it, Jordan. I was here for it, honey. Walk in the room and break it up. Sherrod then starts to talk, and he tries to psychoanalyze Ken because he got a master's degree in forensic psychology. Ken was not here for it. Ken was not here for your psychoanalysis, okay? They start arguing about something with the rental car back in Atlanta and stuff like that. And I ain't know what they was talking about. I ain't even understand. They was getting was getting more and more upset. Then Ken threatens to throw everybody out. And so at that point, DeAndre has a whole aside. Like we're in the middle of watching a play. And you know why when you watch a play, they have an aside where the character comes out of character, turns to the audience, talks directly to the audience, and then turns and goes back to the character and keeps everything going. Girl. DeAndre had a whole aside with Kid because he liked the way Kid said it. He said it real fast and everybody else didn't really pay attention to it. DeAndre looked like, what he said? He said, baby, we getting kicked out. He said, baby, we getting put out. And he looked directly at the audience and you knew he was talking to you. He was like, baby, we getting put out here. I was like, you know what? That was, listen, the dissertations that DeAndre's facial expressions were writing the entirety of this brunch was everything. Normally, it's always Ashton's confessionals that give me life. This week, it was DeAndre's facial. Listen, DeAndre and those facial expressions were writing dissertations for the gods. Okay? Reading a child. Anyway, Sherrod abruptly leaves because he's all in his feelings because he feels like Ken is, getting way too out of order and he's upset with Ken's reaction to him or whatnot. And I don't know. But here's my thing, Ken. You asked for everybody to go around and tell how they feel about everybody in the room. That was all fine and dandy as long as they were talking about other people. But now when someone's talking about you and the issue they may or may not have for you, now that's a problem. You can't have it both ways, sir. You can't have it both ways. That's why I say the premise of this from the beginning was messy. You never really intended on anybody saying anything about you, but you really wanted to sit up there and soak up all the tea on everybody else and find out what everybody else had going on, neglecting your own self as if you ain't got nothing going on. That ain't fair, Ken. That is not fair. You can't have it both ways. Sherrod still outside crying and carrying on. Child, y'all better than me, honey, because the bitch ain't gonna be making me cry. I'm sorry, honey. I do not play them games. If I'm gonna cry, it's gonna be at home in the confines of my own home, in my own bedroom, and with nobody else there. But while I'm out there, you ain't gonna get me like that, honey. Anyway, he comes back in. And then they switch and start talking about limits. And they talked about limits in New Orleans. And their production cut away to a clip of limits apparently grabbing DeAndre's dick. And DeAndre say, are you grabbing my dick? And this, that, and the third. And then Sherrod brings up the threesome in Atlanta between August, Braylon, and Limits. And now Ken started saying, Ken started to get all into it. And this is where I was like, yeah. If I recall, Ken at the beginning said when he was talking about Jordan, let's not talk about Jordan. He's not here to defend himself. He's not here to explain and everything. Now, he said that he invited Limits too, but for whatever reason, Limits couldn't make it. Why wasn't those same graces afforded to Limits? However you feel about Limits, and this goes to everybody that was there doing all of this, as well as production. And I think at the end of the day, I have to fault production for this. This whole conversation where they was going in on Limits who was not there, and they were dragging that man. And there wasn't, it was a lot of shade, it was very uncomfortable. It was very, very salacious and uncomfortable. And there were a lot of things being said about this young man while he was not there. And I thought it was very uncomfortable as a viewer to watch this. And I thought it should not have been on this show. That should have, if y'all was gonna have this conversation and go in on limits and stuff like that, that should have just been a conversation amongst the girls off camera. Leave it off camera, because now it taints how you look at people, and now it seems like, I don't want to say bullying, but now these people have a pulpit in this show where they can air this young man out and air all this dirty laundry out, and production can show little snippets to validate what they're saying. And they putting all of this horrible stuff out here about this young man, and he's not there to defend himself. And that's negligent. That's wrong. It was a very uncomfortable conversation. But then they started talking about people penis sizes and how good or bad the sex was, and it it was uncomfortable to watch. It's unfair, and I think it's negligent. The reason I say negligent because it kind of goes right into the narrative and stereotype that people have about us as black gay men, that we're just always catty and we're always shading people, and there can't be real friends amongst the black gays, and this perpetuates and proliferates that. This whole conversation made me uncomfortable, and you talking to somebody who is as salacious and debaucherous as the rest of them, but I was uncomfortable here. I was very uncomfortable watching it. I don't think that this should have been aired. This should have been cut out. It really should have been cut out, especially if he's not going to be there. Because somebody that's a friend of Lemis, or a family member of Lemis, or God forbid, somebody that might work with him, or a boss that might just happen across the video and watch it, and they will see this and see how they're talking about him, and we're only left with one side of it, or everybody there's version. We don't get to hear what he had to say. It's negligent, I would venture to say, when there's just one side. Now, for those people who do know, I did have a interview where August and Lemis and Ashton were on there. You can go check it out on my channel. And everybody got to tell their side or their portion of the story. But this right here, especially how it just really kind of got really like, okay, drag Lemis. It was uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. I have to fault production for that. Because that should have been something that, okay, we gonna laugh and kiki and because that happens. I'm not gonna say that doesn't happen. I'm not gonna say that I haven't done that, but the benefit I have is it's not being recorded for all the world to see. That's just a private little banter that I might have with my friends. But when you're putting it out there to the general public, yeah, that was negligent. The boys go out to the beach. Ken, Sherrod, August, and Braylon are there. Ken going off on why the other people on the show are not there, having little to no information as to why they're not there. Because somebody said Jordan had some personal issues, Ashton was at work, and then we find out that DeAndre was at the studio. So people had reasons for not being there, but I don't think Ken needed it for them to have a reason. I think Ken just wanted to just have a reason to say, just wanted to be able to say, oh, they don't want no parts of us, they don't want to be around us, they ain't shit. DeAndre goes to the studio to record the song for his boyfriend. I wasn't really paying attention. I was still upset about the whole situation from earlier. Back at the beach, they sitting up here, and I know that they are probably edited it down and showed just that little snippet, but I think y'all should have showed us more, because what it looked like, if I'm just going off based off of what they showed on the show, y'all at the beach. And y'all spending all of this time, effort, and energy talking about a bitch that ain't there. Listen, I'm from a place that has beautiful beaches. When me and my friends go to the beach, if a bitch ain't come, we ain't talking about them. I don't care why they ain't there, because I'm at the beach and I'm here to get in the water or to lay on the sand and have a good time, drink my drink, and listen to some music and enjoy my friends and the sun at the beach. Not sit up here and be talking about other people who ain't there and why they ain't there and all the dramas and this, that, and the third and ball. Y'all had way too much going on and carrying on. Girl, I would have been at the beach to get my whole life, not being focused on another bitch. But that's just me. Kim went into this whole song and dance about DeAndre, and I kind of felt like we are getting to the crux of this all. I think Ken is really angry with Dre and this whole Dre being with the guy that he used to talk to. And so what that means is his anger toward Dre spills over to anybody that he feels is aligned with Dre and attached to Dre. So Dre good friends with Ashton, and Dre and Ashton have been friends longer than everybody else. With Ashton, you can get some of this smoke too. And by the transitive property of mathematics, Jordan, you best friends with Ashton, which means that you are associated with DeAndre. So bitch, I don't like you either. Because I don't like that bitch Dre anyway. That's kind of how I feel like that's going. Finally, we see Ashton goes to lunch with Lemis and Archie, and Ashton kind of confronts Lemis about his whoredom and being a whore, and sleeping around with everybody. He was like, "Listen, you can't be sleeping with everybody. You can't be touching on everybody you come into contact with." I mean, but it's fun, Ashton. I mean, in Lemis's defense, as a card-carrying member of the coalitions of whores across the fruited plains, it is kind of what we do. It's kind of fun. It makes us who we are. Yeah, I kind of want to touch all of the dicks and penises that I'm next to. Sometimes I can be that way. I can understand what Lemons is going through. I've been there. I do that from time to time. From time to time. Anyway, but I mean, he was saying, listen, it's one thing for you to do it, but you can't do it. But I kind of understand you can't do it with everybody in one friend group, because then they're going to do what they did on the show, which is lay you out for the whole world to hear and see, which was a mess. Anyway, Lemons kind of called into question whether Ashton was really his friend and defending him, and Ashton kind of took offense to that, and I kind of would too. So I understood why Ashton got mad with that when he said, "Well, are you defending me?" And Ashton looking like, "Bitch, do you even understand how much I defend your ass?" I kind of understood Ashton on that. At the end, we got a little snippet of DeAndre's song, and then it went off from that. Listen, it went off. I don't. I'm sorry, but I kind of felt ways about that whole situation. It was a bit much. That situation where the girls were sitting there talking about lemons, I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't. I hope that you all, as a cast and especially production, will do better. Do better. Do Jesus and do him well. But yeah, y'all gotta do better. Y'all gotta do better. Because we deserve better. You deserve better. Um, yeah. I think that's all I got. Y'all know, I know y'all gonna be in the comment section. So we can talk about it in the comment section. That's all I got for y'all. Until next time, thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. We out.